there's, I would imagine, less regulation than in senior care, especially back then. I would imagine, those regulations have only but increased. But how was it when you came into the senior care industry and you realized, wow, there's, we're being watched and we're being monitored and graded based on a lot of different things. I would assume that there'd be quite a different culture just around that.
Yeah, Dan, one of my, and I still think of this. I find it a little funny, is you know, I think within the second week I had started, we were actually in the accreditation process, and we had a health inspector come to my site at Glenmore. I'd only been there for a few weeks. And the health inspector had identified, two, three, maybe four issues at the site. And about a week later, it ended up on the regional director's desk, this health inspection. And so she came into my office and she said, Rob, she says, this is a perfect example of where a gap analysis would be very helpful. And I said, I'm sorry, I've never heard of a gap analysis. Can you tell me what that is? And she says, well, what a gap analysis is, you identify something that's wrong, and then you talk about what you're going to do to fix it. And I said, well, all of those items are already fixed. I said, in fact, we fixed them on the date that the health inspector came in. And she says, oh, okay. And she says, well, this one's a bit bigger. How were you able to fix that? And I told her what we did. And she says, well, okay, we don't usually have people move this fast, but it's funny where we came from. If it's broken, you fix it. Here, in healthcare, if it's broken, you talk about it, and then you talk about how you're going to fix it, and then you fix it. So anyways, that was a bit of a learning for me. But really, more than anything, Dan, she was looking for documentation to show that, when we've got something that isn't working perfectly, what are the steps that we take to ensure that it does work perfectly? But instead of doing gap analysis, I would rather, every time that fire marshal comes in, every time the health inspector comes in, we prefer just to, hit the targets right off the get-go, rather than have a need to do a gap analysis to start with, kind of thing. So that was absolutely new to me, and it was a little bit strange. I certainly get it now. But again, I think that's been a big part of our success, is that if something's broken, let's get it resolved now. But even better, and this is where maintenance care really helps us, is to be more proactive about things, rather than reactive.
Yeah.